Never-Ending Narratives presents Altar of Omnia, written by hero protagonist.
Chapter 3. The Grove That Shouldn't Exist. The hidden path relented. A frost line lay on the ground, thin as a vein of silver, bending between black pines like the forest had decided to draw a route and dared them to follow it. Kenji followed anyway, iron oak branch tight in his hand, shoulder wrapped in torn starter rags in pure spite. Behind them, the taiga hissed with that broken signal whisper, wind, static, and something moving where it shouldn't. Kenji's ears kept trying to find a rhythm in it. There wasn't one. A faint ripple crossed the edge of his vision. Ambient interference, blight static, active. Warning, perception desync possible. Kenji swallowed.
Tell me you feel that.
Lyra didn't look back. Her eyes carried a faint amber shimmer.
It's watching us from behind.
That's not what I meant.
Kenji muttered, then corrected himself.
Okay, also that. I meant the air. It's cleaner.
Lyra slowed half a step. The frost line tightened, then smoothed again, reacting to her pace like it was taking cues.
Like the forest is filtering,
She said.
it's letting us through.
Kenji's grip tightened.
Or like we just crossed into a zone with rules.
Lyra's mouth twitched.
We did.
And it's letting us walk in.
Kenji added, watching the frost line like it might vanish out of spite.
Why?
Lyra's voice went quiet. Certain.
Because we didn't take what it offered.
Kenji frowned.
The easy path.
Lyra nodded once.
Restraint.
Ahead, the pines thinned into a perfect ring. Fog peeled away in patient layers. A gap waited there. Too clean to be accident, too calm to be mercy. Kenji stepped through, and the whispering taiga cut off. No hiss, no static crawl, no pressure at the base of his skull. Just quiet that felt supervised. Kenji stopped hard, branch already half raised, eyes snapping left-right like he was clearing a room.
Nah,
He muttered.
I don't trust quiet.
Lyra didn't stop. Her head tilted slightly, like she could hear a frequency Kenji couldn't.
It's contained.
A faint I flicker ghosted at the edge of his vision. Subtle, restrained. Safe zone status. Conditional. Kenji shifted his stance, placing himself between Lyra and the open space without thinking.
Conditional like rest here, or conditional like welcome to the boss room?
Lyra's lips twitched.
Both.
Kenji scanned the perimeter. Arches, bridges, clean lines, and living wood. Everything looked grown with purpose. Nothing looked decorative. Even the light seemed curated.
All right,
He said, voice low.
if this is a trap, it has a budget.
It's a threshold.
Lyra said.
It tried to skin me alive outside.
It warned you.
Lyra replied.
Now it's evaluating you.
Kenji huffed.
Morality-based security system, love that for us.
They moved deeper. Grass too green underfoot. Air warm enough to make his lungs unclench. The silence sat on his shoulders like a hand. Kenji took one slow step forward, then another, ready to move fast anyway.
Okay,
He said.
cover, exit, and what do I hit first if everything goes sideways?
Lyra finally looked back at him.
If it goes sideways, you defend me and don't cut anything sacred.
Kenji blinked.
That's extremely vague.
Lyra faced forward again.
That's because this place isn't yours to interrogate.
Kenji hated that she was right. Then he saw it. In the center rose a massive heart tree, trunk twisting upward in slow spirals, pulsing soft gold-green light. The air around it carried weight, the kind that made your voice drop without being told. A soft, restrained chime touched the back of his skull. Location discovered, the Verdant Grove. Safe zone status conditional. Note, you are unbound. Local laws apply. Kenji stared at the last line like it had personally insulted him. Local laws, he muttered.
That's a cute way to say probation.
Lyra's mouth twitched.
Don't start.
I'm not starting.
Kenji whispered back.
The system started. It just labeled us liabilities.
He tried to focus on the text again, willing it to expand. Nothing. No rules. No list. Kenji exhaled through his nose.
Of course it won't show the rule book, just the liability waiver.
Lyra didn't answer. Her head tilted, eyes faintly amber, attention somewhere past sight.
It's holding something back.
She murmured. Kenji glanced at her.
The Grove?
Lyra nodded once.
Like a hand on a door.
Kenji took a careful step forward. The ground clicked. Thin veins of light flared beneath the moss in a circle around his foot, root lines so precise they made his eyes itch. Ward triggered, outer ring. Test, restraint. Metric, hostile intent. Threshold, low. Kenji froze.
Lyra.
Roots snapped up, fast as a striking snake, coiling around his ankle, then his wrist, yanking the iron oak branch down and pinning him in place with humiliating precision. A thorned vine rose and hovered at his throat like a blade that didn't need steel. Kenji didn't flail. He went still the way fighters do when motion is the mistake.
Okay.
He said carefully, voice low.
So the safe zone comes with terms.
Lyra stepped forward without thinking. The ward reacted immediately, light intensifying, vines tightening, as if the grove disliked her closing distance. Lyra lifted both hands, palms open. Her posture carried the same energy she used with animals. Open, steady, deliberate.
I'm not here to take.
She whispered.
I'm here to...
The air hummed. The vines hesitated. And then cinched tighter, offended by a touch that didn't know the language. Lyra's amber shimmer flared bright, too fast, too strong. A new UI line flashed, half-formed, then stabilized. Attunement spike detected, verdant. Classification, untrained/high aptitude. Warning, overreach increases ward aggression. Kenji felt the vine at his throat tighten a hair. Lyra stepped closer again. Close enough that her cloak brushed his knee. Close enough that his nervous system briefly forgot which emergency it was supposed to be managing. A tiny UI ping flickered across his internal HUD like the system was judging him personally. Status, distracted, minor. Impulse check, passed, barely. Kenji swallowed.
Lyra?
He said, very calm for a man being politely threatened by landscaping.
I love whatever witchy thing you're doing. Do it smaller.
Lyra's jaw clenched. She breathed out slow and lowered her hands an inch, like turning down volume instead of killing the sound. The ward shuddered and held. Then a staff struck the ground once, hard enough that the hum snapped into silence. The vines peeled away from Kenji as if yanked back by an invisible leash. The thorn at his throat withdrew, offended. Kenji flexed his wrist, eyes lifting. Figures stepped from the living arches. Druids who looked grown instead of born. Leather with a pulse. Wood that gleamed like polished bone. Eyes like storm clouds and forest floor. 9 of them. A ring, and they weren't welcoming. A tall woman walked forward, ivy braided into her hair like a crown that could tighten when she willed it. Her staff didn't look carved so much as accepted. Her gaze flicked from Kenji's bloody bandage to the iron oak branch to Lyra's hands, still hovering like she didn't trust herself not to pull the wrong thread again.
Unbound,
the woman said, and the word landed like a title and an accusation.
you walked a path that does not open for outsiders.
Lyra lifted her chin.
We earned it.
The woman's eyes narrowed slightly.
You also tripped the outer ring.
Kenji couldn't help himself.
In my defense, your floor has opinions.
No one smiled.
The grove listens.
the woman said simply.
To footsteps, to blood, to intent.
Kenji muttered.
So the forest is a snitch.
Lyra shot him a look sharp enough to cut. Kenji raised a hand.
Coping. I'm coping.
The woman's gaze returned to Lyra, sharper now, less ceremony, more assessment.
Your attunement is early,
She said.
too early.
Lyra didn't flinch.
I paid for knowledge. I practiced. I listened.
A flicker crossed the woman's expression, annoyance wrestling reluctant respect.
You can hear the grove.
She said.
You don't know the grammar. You push, it pushes back. You pull, it bites.
Lyra's fingers curled once, restrained. Kenji shifted subtly closer to her, protective without making a show of it. The woman angled her staff a fraction.
Name yourselves.
Lyra.
Kenji gave a small, sarcastic bow.
Kenji. And yes, I know I look ridiculous with a stick.
A murmur moved through the druids, soft as leaves, shifting. The woman studied them both. Then she spoke quietly, like she was addressing the grove as much as them.
Tell me why the forest let two unbound strangers reach our door, and why it reacts to her like it recognizes something it shouldn't.
Lyra's fingers curled.
Then let us help you find them. Teach us. Give us a place to stand so we can fight without vanishing the first time we slip.
Kenji's jaw tightened. Vanishing wasn't poetic. It was the unbound penalty. No citadel tether. No safe return. One mistake, and the world erased you like you'd never existed. He kept his voice low.
She's asking for a bind, a sanctioned respawn point. We don't have one.
The woman didn't correct him. She just turned, and the ring of druids shifted with her like a moving wall.
Walk.
She said. They moved deeper into the grove under silent watch. Kenji cataloged everything on instinct. Training rings, scuffed earth, bark posts, root-woven dummies with strike marks and repair stitches. Healers, hands pressed to shallow-breathing bodies, sap glow pulsing beneath skin. Charm posts, hung with snapped talismans and prayer knots torn hard enough to fray. They passed a small circle of stones arranged around an empty space. 9 places, one missing in the center. Each stone held a braided strip of bark cloth with a name burned into it. Kenji caught one as they went by.
Archdruid Ira.
A nearby druid, young, tired-eyed, noticed Kenji reading and instinctively reached out as if to cover the name. His hand stopped halfway, then dropped, like he remembered he didn't get to hide it anymore. The woman's jaw tightened so subtly Kenji almost missed it.
How long?
Lyra asked. The woman didn't answer right away. She led them past the circle and toward a shaded hollow, like the question had weight she didn't want to set down.
3 moon turns.
She said at last.
21 dawns.
The number sank, into the bark, into the rings, into the silence everyone was pretending wasn't desperation. Lyra's voice went hard.
You've been holding the line without her.
The woman's gaze didn't soften.
Without them.
Lyra's mouth tightened.
What did they find before they vanished?
The woman's eyes flicked toward a side path.
You want answers, you'll see what we saw.
She led them under a living arch into a colder pocket of shade. A low table sat there, grown from root and stone. On it rested a glassy lump of hardened sap, clear enough to see through. Inside the sap, a leaf. It should have been green. It wasn't. Black crawled along its edges, veins lit with a sickly pale shimmer. The rot didn't sprawl like mold. It held shape. It repeated. Same curl, same spacing, same return. Kenji leaned in, the humor in him going quiet on its own. A UI ping flickered, sharp, clinical. Anomaly detected, shaped corruption. Spread pattern, non-natural. Signature, intent impression. Kenji stared at the specimen and felt his skin prickle.
That's engineered.
A couple druids shifted. One swallowed hard. Lyra's gaze sharpened to amber steel.
Human design.
She said, not asking. The woman didn't deny it. That was her answer,
Our archdruid brought this back.
the woman said.
She found it near the last wardstone before the trail went silent.
Lyra's jaw set.
Then we find her.
The woman studied Lyra for a long moment. Then Kenji,
You are unbound.
she said.
That status doesn't vanish because we opened a door.
Kenji's jaw tightened. Because she was right. A doorway wasn't citizenship,
But the grove can extend a tether.
the woman continued.
If you bind to our ward, death returns you here. The tether fails if the ward breaks. If the grove falls, you fall with it.
Lyra didn't hesitate.
We bind.
Kenji felt his stomach dip. Not because he disagreed. Because Lyra said it like she'd already accepted the risk and was just waiting to see if the world had the nerve to enforce it. A shallow bowl sat beside the specimen table, carved from living wood. Inside rested 2 seed stones, each wrapped in root fiber and faint green light. A UI line flashed, clean and official. Respawn anchor available. Verdant Grove. Requirement: Grove tether, voluntary. Warning: anchor fails if ward is broken. Kenji stared at it.
So we stop being one mistake from deletion, and upgrade to one catastrophe from deletion.
Lyra didn't look away from the bowl.
We take it.
Kenji nodded once.
Copy.
Then, because he was Kenji, he added.
We'll be reckless responsibly.
Lyra elbowed him lightly. His shoulder hated it, but his pride loved it. The woman's staff tapped once. Less warning, more instruction.
Before you bind to anything deeper, you learn the first rule.
Lyra's eyes stayed on the heart tree.
Which is?
You don't force the grove.
The woman said.
You request. You offer. Every command costs you something the ward can taste.
She motioned to a shallow basin where clear sap water pooled.
Show me you're listening.
Lyra stepped to the basin. Her hands hovered over it. Steady, controlled. She breathed once, slow. The surface trembled. A thin braid of green light rose from the sap water and hovered between her palms. Lyra's brow tightened, concentration pulling at her like a hook. A UI flicker appeared tighter than before. Verdant focus engaged. Cost: stamina drain, minor. Warning: overreach triggers ward response. Lyra adjusted instantly, breath slower, palms lower, intent softer. The braid stabilized. The woman nodded once.
That. You speak with breath. You pay with body. Push too hard and the ward reads you as a threat.
Lyra's eyes flashed.
And if I don't push hard enough?
You die anyway.
The woman said flatly.
So learn the line.
Lyra released the braid and it sank back into the basin like it belonged there. Her hands didn't shake. She looked at the heart tree again.
I understand.
She said. The woman held her gaze.
Then understand this too. Sanctuary is not free, not here, not for unbound. You want to be counted among us, then you bind yourself to our rules, our costs, and our work.
Up close, Kenji's eyes wanted to track the roots. Repeating arcs, tight spirals, clean lanes in living wood, like power moved better when it obeyed a layout. Kenji's fingers flexed around the old branch.
Those root lines?
The woman's gaze flicked to him, calm, warning. Notice quietly. Lyra stepped forward anyway, drawn by something that didn't feel like curiosity. Her amber shimmer brightened, reflected back at her from every leaf and vein of glowing bark. The woman struck her staff down between Lyra and the heart, one hard note of authority.
Do not touch the heart.
She warned.
It answers.
Lyra's eyes gleamed.
Good.
Kenji's pulse spiked. He shifted half a step, ready to yank her back if the grove decided to make an example out of them. Lyra placed her palm against the glowing bark. Pressure bloomed outward through the roots underfoot, the air tightening around every living thing in the circle. Leaves turned, vines stilled. Every druid in the ring stopped breathing like they'd learned not to interrupt this. Kenji felt the system take a breath. Then it stamped the moment into place. Unique quest unlocked. The Unbound Ascent. Oath of the Grove. Commission, the missing circle. Objective, locate Archdruid Era and the inner circle. Objective, trace the source shaping the blight. Reward, locked. Grove citizenship plus sanctuary bind point. Penalty, failure voids sanctuary access. And immediately after. Status gained, claimant mark. Grove bound. Warning, marked are detectable by rival forces. Note, some factions hunt claimants on sight. The druids recoiled, actual fear, not ceremony.
You fool children.
Someone whispered.
You didn't ask for shelter. You swore yourself into our war.
Kenji felt it then, a burning sting on the back of his hand. A stylized leaf and thorn sigil seared into his skin like a brand that wanted to settle into bone. Lyra had the same mark on her wrist, faintly green, like the grove had written her name into its ledger. Kenji flexed his fingers, staring at the sigil, then flicked his eyes up to the UI line that mattered.
Reward locked,
He murmured.
So this isn't congrats, you own the grove. This is congrats, you just took a job that tags you for the privilege.
He looked at Lyra.
You just accepted a quest that comes with a tracking device.
Lyra's smile carried heat and intent.
I accepted the only way forward.
Kenji exhaled a laugh he didn't fully mean.
Of course you did.
The woman's voice turned cold.
You wanted a foothold. Now you've got obligations stapled to your name.
Kenji nodded once.
Cool. What's step one before the entire forest puts a bounty on our heads?
A younger druid stepped forward, craftsman hands, eyes sharp. His gaze flicked to Kenji's iron oak branch like it was both insult and evidence. We craft, the craftsman said. Kenji's grin cut in.
Organic blades only, right? Then let's build something the wild can't veto.
The woman studied him.
You refuse the staff.
Kenji shrugged.
No disrespect. I'm just wired wrong. If I'm going to get hunted, I'd rather be hunted with something that makes sense in my hands.
Lyra looked at him like she was finally seeing the outline under the jokes.
You walked in here wanting a dojo.
She said softly.
You're leaving with a weapon and a lesson.
They were led into the crafting circle, a natural amphitheater of root and stone. Sap sweet air, old lightning in the bark. Druids gathered at the edges, watching like they expected the grove to correct them for even trying. Hanging from a low branch was a single leaf, thick, dark, crystalline. Green obsidian shot through with living veins of light. It pulsed faintly, holding charge like it remembered being alive. The woman's jaw tightened.
Crystallized elder leaf. Memory of first growth. Outsiders don't touch it.
Lyra lifted her hand toward it, then paused. One breath of restraint, like she heard the earlier lesson in her bones.
I'm not asking to take, and I'm no longer an outsider,
She said. Her fingers brushed the crystal. The grove reacted immediately, leaves angling toward her, vines shifting overhead, a low hum rolling through root and stone like the place recognized her tone and accepted it. The druids froze. Kenji felt the prickle rise up his arms. Recognition, registration. The zone clocking her as valid. The woman swallowed something old.
The grove acknowledges you.
Kenji couldn't stop the thought that slipped through, quiet and stupidly proud.
That's my girl.
Lyra didn't soften. The attention sharpened her. Like being noticed didn't comfort her, it armed her. Kenji crouched beside her, voice dropping into work mode.
Talk to it.
He murmured.
I'll handle the shape. We give it rules and see if it approves the output.
Lyra's grin flashed, feral.
Say less.
They worked. Lyra steadied her breath the way the woman taught her, offer first, request second. The crystal warmed under her palm. The veins brightened in pulses that matched her breathing. Kenji mapped the build in his head. Balance points, edge angle, spine curve, center of percussion. He spoke like he was reading a weapon spec into a system that rewarded clarity.
Long. No dachi length. Combat. Curve tight enough to cut clean without dragging. Two-hand grip. Minimal guard. Function first.
The leaf pulsed once, twice, like a cursor blinking. Kenji leaned closer.
That vein pattern, it repeats.
Lyra glanced at him.
Repeating how?
Kenji's eyes tracked the lattice.
Like a schema, like it wants constraints.
That earned him a sharp look from the woman. Kenji lifted a hand.
I'm not calling it code. I'm saying it has rules.
Lyra exhaled, focus tightening.
Then set them.
Kenji nodded, voice precise.
Edge here, spine here. Weight forward enough to bite, not enough to punish the wrists. Grip, 2 hands. No fake ornaments. No waste. Honest.
Lyra pressed her palm down. The leaf accepted the parameters. Its veins lit, then the shape locked in. Green-gold lattice rose along the spine line with deliberate consistency, clean as a finalized build. The blade settled into form with a soft thunk that sounded like a heartbeat landing. When it was done, the weapon lay there humming, alive enough that the air around it felt awake. A UI flicker appeared, brief, restrained, like the system didn't want to interrupt what just happened. Weapon created, leaf blade no dachi, unique. Synergy detected, iron oak iaido, compatible. The wild approves. Kenji wrapped his fingers around the grip. A low resonant note climbed his arm and settled into his bones. Feedback, confirmation, the weapon registering him as an acceptable user. Lyra's gaze dropped to his hands, veins standing out, knuckles white, the fresh leaf and thorn sigil stark against his skin, then dragged back up to his face. Something dangerous flickered behind her amber eyes. Kenji rose slowly, almost careful, then gave the Nodachi one clean cut through the air. Green motes trailed the edge like fireflies. He stared at the trail, then at Lyra, voice rough with awe and something dangerously close to gratitude.
You just turned salad into a sword saint's dream.
Lyra stepped close enough to crowd his space. The air around her smelled faintly of crushed pine and living sap. When she spoke, it was low and deliberate, breath grazing the side of his neck.
Good.
She murmured.
Because I plan to see what you can do with it.
Kenji's brain helpfully tried to reboot. A tiny internal scoreboard ticked again. Impulse check, passed, barely. Willpower, minus viance. He swallowed and filed it under problem for later. A couple druids shifted, uneasy. One actually took a step back like the blade had offended his entire doctrine. The woman's voice cut through the moment, calm and ugly with truth.
You're marked.
She said.
By oath. By ward. By grovecraft.
Her eyes flicked to Kenji's hand, then to Lyra's wrist.
You walk out carrying a grove-forged edge, and every hungry thing will know you found sanctuary.
Kenji rested the Nodachi on his shoulder like it belonged there. His humor returned, quieter, tighter.
We were hunted before we got here,
He said.
Now we can hunt back.
Lyra's hand found his for half a second. Small contact, heavy meaning. Her thumb brushing once across the fresh sigil like she was confirming it was real. Then she released him like she was saving the rest for later. They were given what supplies the grove could spare. Healing sap in a root cork vial, a cloak woven from shadow moss that drank the light, and a set of hide armor for Kenji, supple, reinforced with living bark plates that shifted slightly when he moved, like the armor was learning his posture. At the specimen hollow, the black-veined leaf sat in its sap prism, quiet and wrong. The woman tapped the casing once.
This repeats. Corruption shouldn't repeat. It spreads.
Kenji nodded. Eyes on the anomaly ping burned into his memory.
Someone wrote a template into rot.
A murmur moved through the druids. Some looked angry, some looked afraid. Lyra's jaw set.
Then we find who's shaping it.
The woman studied Lyra for a long moment. Then Kenji.
You're tethered now. If you fall, you return here.
She nodded at the seed stones.
Bind.
Lyra took hers without hesitation. Kenji took his and felt the warmth spread up his palm like a handshake he couldn't refuse. Respawn anchor bound, Verdant Grove. Status, tethered. Warning, anchor fails if ward is broken. Kenji stared at it.
All right, new goal. Don't let the grove get nuked.
Lyra didn't smile.
New goal, find Era.
At the edge of the grove, the living arches lowered, not bowing, not welcoming, measuring. Kenji felt the claimant mark pulse once, warm, heavy, alive. A UI whisper shimmered at the corner of his vision. Status, claimant mark, grove-bound, active. Note, detection radius unknown. Kenji stared at the words, then looked out toward the whispering taiga, the cold, the static, the sense of something watching from far away. He glanced at Lyra.
Ready to be hunted?
He asked. Lyra smiled, and it wasn't friendly. It was leadership. It was teeth.
Born ready, city boy.
Kenji adjusted the nodachi on his shoulder and let the humor sharpen into something useful.
Cool,
He said.
Then let's go make whoever's shaping rot regret having thumbs.
They stepped out of the grove together, marked, geared, tethered, and finally important enough for the world to come looking.
This has been a never-ending narratives production, Altar of Omnia, written by Hero Protagonist. Thank you for listening. New chapters arrive weekly. Stay tuned.